So I call to order this meeting of the Soldiers Memorial Commission. Today is Thursday, September 16th, 2021, and it is 3:03 p.m. My name is Linnea Magnuson, and I chair the commission. We proceed according to the agenda. First is the roll call of Soldiers Memorial Commissioners. So Commissioner Barjay.
Here.
Yes. Oh, we got someone else coming in. Oh, Karen Gearing, okay. Okay, Commissioner Boyd, I know is not coming. No, okay. Commissioner Dunlap.
Here.
Yes, here. Commissioner Falls, no. Commissioner Fletcher, no. Commissioner Gilmore, no. Commissioner Hansis,
Yes, here.
yes. Me, I'm here. Commissioner Yampolsky,
Present.
yes. Okay, the next thing on the agenda is Pledge of Allegiance, of course. Bruce, would you lead us in the pledge? And
I'd be honored.
second, let me get it up here. So,
I think we all know the words.
yeah, let me get it up here. Here we go. And let me just go back here. All right.
I like that. The flags.
1 second, yeah. There we go. Yeah, there we go.
I pledge allegiance to the
To
flag
of the United
States of America and to the republic
for which it
for which it
stands,
stands, one nation,
nation,
under God,
God,
indivisible, liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. Yes, this is a picture of the flag I took last weekend, I guess, at the at Art Hill. So it's beautiful.
I was there.
I'm glad you were able to
Over
see it.
Yes, I was.
Yeah, it's really nice. So I actually have an error on the agenda for today. So I will make sure and correct it for our meeting minutes for today. But we approved the May 20th, 2021 meeting minutes last meeting. And I
Yes.
apologize about that. So we just have to approve the July 15th meeting minutes today. And I'll pull them up for you. You can see those. Okay, leave them up here for a little bit.
I'd like to make a motion that they be approved as presented.
Okay,
Second.
okay,
Ready, second.
all right. I call for a vote on whether to approve the July 15th, 2021 Soldiers Memorial Commission meeting minutes. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Any abstaining? No, good. Thank you so much. Let me just see here. Yeah, there we go. So we'll be back to the other page then. Okay, so again, Mark, if you could give us an update on what's been happening at Soldiers Memorial, and then we'll talk a bit about the St. Louis Regional Veterans Day observance on November 6th. That would be wonderful today.
Right. Yeah. Okay. 1 minute. All right. So operations wise, I think the two of the more significant things, some of you remember Jamie Bassans. He was our visitor engagement coordinator. He left us, I think 3 weeks ago now. His wife, Katie, needed to pursue the last stage of her PhD in occupational therapy out in Washington State. So, and we knew that was coming actually for a couple of years now. We didn't quite know the exact date, but he left us at the end of August. So that position is posted. If you know anybody who is interested in that, the primary responsibilities for that position are working with community partners to develop public programs. So it's a lot of relationship building and coordinating days and times and all those different aspects for public programs, but then also spend some time doing some visitor engagement and what we call navigating or guiding guests through the facility when they show up. So that position is posted. It's up until it's been up for a couple of weeks, and it's up for one more week until the end of next week, the 24th. So let me know. You can, if you take some time to think about it, if you think of anybody, I'll be happy to share that information with you and that link for the position. We did hire about 3 weeks ago an education coordinator, Lydia Prebish, and Lydia will take primary responsibility for developing grades 6 through 12 educational programs for Soldiers Memorial. So it's a significant thing that we really needed to make some advancements on, and so Lydia will be undertaking that. So you'll see her around the building now as well. She is a native St. Louis and did her undergraduate work out in Oklahoma, and then her museum studies master's degree at IUPUI in Indianapolis. So she is coming to us from there and is back home now in St. Louis and really excited to be with us. So two significant things. Other COVID related operational things. I don't think there's been too much of a change since we last met. We continue to be open Wednesday through Sunday, 10 to 5. Visitors to the building need to wear a mask. There is no vaccination requirement or proof of vaccination requirement for visitors. The MHS staff and volunteers do need to be vaccinated. That'll be a upcoming requirement that will be implemented soon here, and that deadline for staff is coming up. So that will be across not just Soldiers Memorial, obviously, but all of the MHS locations. Other than that, I don't think we have too much change in operations. Exhibitions, Righting a Wrong, Japanese Americans in World War II has been up since July 24th, and it has just 2 more weeks. It's hard to believe, but it comes down on October 3rd. So if you haven't seen it yet, would encourage you to do so. It's an incredibly important lesson about the fragility of our constitutional rights in times of war, and what can happen very quickly and very unfortunately. So I would encourage you to visit that exhibition in the lower level if you have the opportunity sometime in the next couple of weeks. As far as programming go, supporting that exhibition, I think we've had a really strong slate of programs. There were kind of 5 key programs. We did an introduction of the top, kind of an overview or introduction of the topic with Robin Hattori, who's a member of both the Japanese American Citizens League and the Japan America Society. And she provided kind of an overview the week before the exhibit opened. And then once it opened, we've had 4 key programs. One was focused on architects, Gio Obata and Richard Henme, who both were accepted into Washington, WashU during the war, which was a unique thing for universities to permit Japanese Americans to attend university in lieu of remaining in the camp. So both Gio Obata and Richard Henme did that, and then of course became major architects and really shaped a lot of the St. Louis built landscape that we know today. So we did a program on that. We did a program on 3 Tanaka brothers, Chester, Edward, and Joseph, who all were born and raised right here in St. Louis, born in the 19-teens. And then by the time World War II rolled around, all 3 of them joined the service and served with the 442nd Regimental Combat Team, which was a unit that received more awards and distinguished medals than any other unit of its size for its length of service. So it was a highly decorated and really a prestigious unit, and served primarily on the Italian peninsula. But did a program on that, and that was a partnership with Eric Saul, who was a former director of the Presidio Army Museum out in San Francisco. We did a program last week on photography and the use of photographs and the lack of camera access for Japanese Americans in the camps. That was a presentation by Dr. Jasmine Allender, who's the Dean of Humanities at UC Santa Cruz, and who has kind of studied photography in relationship to the internment and has kind of focused her work on that. And then just this week, just a couple of days ago, we had a program with a survivor, Jean Iochi Burke, who was just 10 years old at the time of her family's incarceration. And that was a partnership with the Japanese American National Museum out of LA. And so that was fascinating. And June's perception of all the events that were happening as a 10-year-old are very interesting. For a lot of the children, it was actually, it was a kind of a neat experience for them, because all of a sudden a lot of kids were had access and opportunity to play with other Japanese American kids that they didn't have before. So it's kind of an interesting twist in history, how it affected parents and differently than it did children. And so her story was very interesting, and how that impacted her and her family. And then one kind of happy discovery and collaboration was with the, and this is upcoming tomorrow night actually, with the St. Louis Symphony Orchestra. They're hosting an artist, Kishi Bashi, and he produced a piece called EO's 9066, which is Executive Order 9066. And it's his kind of musical reflection and interpretation of the internment. And it just happened that the Symphony Orchestra was hosting Kishi Bashi during the run of this exhibition. So we produced a number of collaborative marketing pieces to promote the concert and then cross-promote the exhibit at the same time. So that was a nice relationship that we've been kind of developing and nurturing with the Symphony Orchestra. And Challenge Chats is our monthly kind of discussion with a veteran or historian. And we started these before the pandemic with the idea of attracting a local downtown audience to Soldiers Memorial at the noon hour, where they could enjoy their lunch and then hear a presentation. Of course, with the pandemic, that was all thrown out, and that opportunity was lost. And we're still conducting these virtually, but there's still a good, I think, very good programs. And just this week we had, or last week actually, we had Staff Sergeant Joshua Eckhoff, who I know a number of you know, and we had him on the week of 9/11 because his personal history and his service was motivated by what he witnessed and lived through during 9/11, and then he went on to enlist and then served over in Iraq, where he was tragically wounded with a traumatic brain injury, and has had a long path of recovery. But we talked about his story and his lived experiences last week during that. So those continue. Saturday outdoor tours continue. They're every Saturday at 1 p.m. And so those are ongoing. And just one final note, all of those programs that I mentioned about Righting Wrong and the challenge chats, like the one with Joshua Eckhoff, they're all recorded and are available on the Missouri Historical Society's YouTube channel. So and not only those, but any program that we've done here virtually at Soldiers or at the History Museum have all been recorded and are available on that YouTube website. So it's a great resource. Upcoming programs, the first one is Tuesday, September 21st, and you also should have received a message about this, but this is at the 9 PBS Media Commons, and that's USS St. Louis Centuries of Service. It's a premiere of that documentary, and I know I've talked about this before, but this is a kind of an event outdoors in the Commons and premiering that. Then there'll be a panel discussion immediately following the premiere of the documentary. And then that'll hit the airwaves for all of the public on the evening of September 27th. So that's an exciting thing that's upcoming, and it's been a great collaboration between the Historical Society, Soldiers Memorial, and 9 PBS. We really enjoyed that relationship and partnership. And then virtual upcoming programs on October 12th, Tuesday morning at 11 a.m. will be A Tale of Two Territories, Missouri's Road to Statehood and Puerto Rico's status in the U.S. And this is going to be a discussion that looks at both of those. And this is part of our the Historical Society's bicentennial commemorations activities. So that's kind of our contribution to those events. And then the next day, October 13th, we'll have another challenge chat, and that's with Chaplain Michael Farrar from Scott Air Force Base. So it'll be just basically a conversation explaining the chaplain's role in the service branches, and how they provide services to the service members. So that'll be an interesting conversation. And then the last thing in October is a discussion with Dan Fuller, Beyond the Gates at Bellefontaine, which will be a program that focuses on the Civil War burials that are up at the cemetery there. So he'll be with us for that program.
Sounds good.
Yeah, and that's pretty much all I got. Happy to take any questions before I roll into some of the Veterans Day observance and parade.
I had a question. I don't know if you'll be able to answer this, Mark, but when we move past the COVID stuff, and now, I mean, these Zoom meetings are not good for many reasons, but for some reason, they're very good, like people who aren't specifically in the area can attend and things like that. Do you think that you'll continue to do the Zoom meetings along with in-person meeting, or not meetings, sorry, in-person programming, so that people from outside the area are able to attend?
Yeah,
like
I think
your
I
programs
think so.
and stuff?
Yeah, I mean,
That's a good idea.
I mean, it's been some of the stuff we've been able to do virtually is really remarkable.
Yeah.
We like most of those programs, Eric Saul from the Presidio Museum, he was out in San Francisco.
That's what I was
and then-
thinking. Yeah.
Yeah. And then
It's a lot
June Burke
cheaper. I mean,
was-
you can have
yeah.
these things. You can't do it otherwise. Yeah.
Yeah. June Burke was in LA. So it creates all kinds of opportunities. Of course, it's, people still, I think, have a hunger for in-person events and being in proximity to one another. And there's something to be said for that. So I think, going forward, what we'll see is kind of a hybrid, a mixture of virtual events when we can do really interesting things virtually, and then live programs once we kind of get back to being comfortable with that. And there is, certainly up at the History Museum, they've started a number of live programs up there. And, we've done a couple here since, this summer, but all of that Right and Wrong programming was developed long before, we knew what things would be like. And of course, now things have not really gotten much better with the Delta variant. And so there's still hesitations about going live too much. And we have done, we did the grant symposium back in, I want to say July, and we did that as a hybrid event. So we had both an in-person audience and a virtual audience. And we can do that, but it's a tremendous amount of work, and it's much more than you would think it is. And so we had our full production team come down from the History Museum to set up all the cameras and the audio and all that. So we had a good streaming program for a virtual audience, but then there were also people in the room, and that kind of would be excellent if we could do that all the time. But I mean, to be honest, just the capacity is not really there. So we're gonna, I think, probably have to be more strategic and selective about what we do virtually and what we do in person, essentially. So, and maybe the rare hybrid event where we're doing both.
Well, I'm thinking that they're probably going to get software, develop that, because everyone's going to be asking these same questions. So hopefully it'll get easier. But I have to vote that if you're counting votes, that you continue to do some of these online type of programs so that people from outside the area and just people who maybe are shut in even or can't get out as easily
Yeah.
are able to attend. Because they're just, the ones I attend now myself, just personally, are from all over the world. And it's just amazing that I can participate in them, and I'm hoping they'll continue. So
Yeah, I think
thanks a
that,
lot.
in terms of our work, I think that's probably one of the best things that's come out of this
Yeah.
is that it's really
Definitely.
opened up opportunities that just didn't exist before in terms of programming, which is really nice.
Yeah,
If there's a silver lining to all this, that's one of them.
that's
I
got to
guess.
be one of them, a big one.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
Thank you, Mark.
you bet. And then the Veterans Day Parade, that in observance, that is developing. We had a meeting Tuesday, I think, Tuesday.
It was
And
Tuesday. Yeah.
I spent most of all of that time talking about the route of the parade and have settled on kind of what we had originally planned, which is coming up market from the west to 14th and taking a left on 14th and then a right on Soldiers and passing in front of Soldiers and then continuing past 13th and ending there in between the Pelker and Kaufman Park. So, and Travis has been a great partner at the Office of Special Events, and I sent him the that route proposal, and he's going to talk to the the streets department and ensure that that's going to be okay and there were no red flags. I don't anticipate that there would be, because it's essentially the same route as previous years, only reversed basically. And so there's still a myriad of details to work out, but pinning the route down felt pretty good. And like I said, that it's not too much of a change from previous years. Another significant thing that we got was a commitment from the U.S. Air Force to provide 2 bands. One was their drum and bugle. I'm calling it that. I'm not sure if that's proper, but they're kind of their traditional band to march in the parade. And then their Star Lifter band, which is what they call their rock band or pop band, who does, still it's patriotic orientated music, but in a different genre from the Steps of Soldiers Memorial after the conclusion of the parade. And then I sent an email just this morning out requesting out to the Creve Coeur Airport, where they do a lot of work with historic airplanes and things like that, and to see if we could find a connection to some planes or other military equipment. I'm going to get a letter out to the general to see if he can help with locating some other unit, non-aircraft equipment. So we'll see where that lands. But it would be nice to have to kind of spice it up, I guess, and to have that around the blocks on maybe on 13th or in that area during and after the parade. So we did send out 200. Travis had provided Kathy's list, and we kind of scrubbed that list and made some updates, and then added a number of Legion posts and AMBET posts who weren't on there, who are in the region. So we got that up to about 200 organizations, and those letters went out about 10 days ago, Friday, right before Labor Day. So they'll start trickling in and hopefully flooding in before too long here, and get people up and into the parade. So, and we did build a website with a online registration process, so people can register both for the parade and the massing of the colors online, as well as the paper form that we mailed them. So there's a couple options there that people have. I think that, oh, and this just came, I don't know if you can see this. This surprised me. They originally said wouldn't get this, but this is the certificate from the VA. We had applied for this, and we were late, and I had a conversation with a guy, and he said, well, you know, you passed the deadline, but then this just showed up yesterday that the city of St. Louis was recognized as the regional site for the observance of Veterans Day 2021. So that was nice to get that, and a surprise. So so that's in place, and so things are kind of piecing together here. And so,
I wanted to add, I have the website address here, the link on the agenda. And if you haven't had a chance to go to it, it's very useful. It doesn't just have the registration material on it. It has the schedule basically of what's going to happen. You can, at some point, you'll be able to see the route, the parade route. So it's got a lot of information on it. And I think it was very good. And it's just an immense step forward, I think, for the Veterans Day parade to have that website like that, where people can go and find out information online. It's very good, Mark.
thanks. Yeah, I think, yeah, and there's a lot of placeholder stuff in there, but as we start to pin more things down, we'll just keep updating that.
Yeah.
And keep it as much of the new information as we can on there. So.
I was really excited to see it. It's been needed for a long time, and it's just really good. So I'm really excited. We've had different things. I think Corrine had something like this in the past that she had done. But this has seemed just really well done, and I could see you had the placeholders, but that didn't bother me one bit, of course, because I know they'll be filled in when you know the information, which is what's key. So,
Yeah, we're just so blessed to have the team up at the History Museum that supports us, and
makes a big difference.
I certainly couldn't have done that by myself. And
yeah,
Mark.
Yep. Yes,
It's Jude. I did not receive that message, and I just that there would be a meeting. And so if you wonder why I wasn't there, that's why.
Okay.
So how soon will the minutes be published? And I had some things I was going to bring up. I'll send you an email about those.
Okay. Yeah, if you could do that. I think almost the entirety of that meeting was the route discussion. And that was it. And I don't know if there was anything else decided other than I don't think there was anything other than pinning down the route. We went through a number of different options and variations, and part of it is deconflicting with a lot of things, but one was making sure that it made sense in relationship to the 5K, and because they'll have equipment set up on market, and because we had talked about the idea of leaving from the ballpark and heading west, which was great in a lot of ways, but then didn't work in a number of different ways too. And that was what we spent about 45, 50 minutes going back, was just hammering out all of those details and then trying to finally settle on a solution. So.
And Mark.
Also, one thing is, I'm sorry, Judith, I was just going to say that
it's okay.
They're going to set up a stage so we can eyes right, or so the people as they pass. That was something that we talked about a lot. So
right, that was one of my points.
Yeah,
that we have to do that.
Yeah, that was, it's, if they would have just built the building facing. But yeah, so yeah, we'll have to put a stage there on the just a little bit on the south side of Chestnut, so that we can do the salutes and the eyes right as they're passing there. Because coming from the west, you really have no other choice. And I tried to explain to people why it's important but that people would be very confused about an eyes left, that it wouldn't that it wouldn't work.
And Mark,
yeah,
one of the things about that certificate that's so important, as I understand it, is that is to government organizations you want to solicit for help, like for some of the equipment to exhibit, and for the Air Force to provide the band and so on and so forth. That certificate is an authority to request that.
Yeah.
okay.
And so it's really, Anne used to say it was really important that we had it, because it gave us access to many more resources.
Yeah, that's great. So I was, we put in for the band, and I was kind of shooting from the hip on that. And then I was amazed when he called back and said, well, we can provide 2 bands. I said, okay, we'll take them.
Hooray, sign them up for next year.
Yeah, right. So anyway, but that was another thing that we actually I brought in that meeting. That was another decision that was made because I didn't want to make that decision alone. So I just said that the Air Force has offered this, and everybody thought that it was a good idea to agree to have them play. So
Yeah.
I think that the biggest pieces that need to be discussed with the committee now is the makeup of what happens after the parade and what elements are in that ceremony and celebration, and how that all meshes with the band doing a concert and they have in my conversations with them, you know, they were supportive of developing kind of an agenda for that ceremony celebration to work with the band and to make it all make sense. But that's something that we really need to get together as a committee and discuss about what elements we want to see in that and what we want to do, because that's a committee conversation, I think.
Sure.
I have a question, Mark. This is Bruce.
Yeah, Bruce.
You're indicating the parade is going to come from the west on Market Street or on?
On Market.
Yeah, I was concerned about what about all the construction going on for the soccer
Right.
stadium?
Yeah, so that's part of why so the parade it's fairly short. The lineup basically occurs on 18th and Olive, and we can't go as far. I think we probably all would prefer to go as far as 20th, which is 2 more blocks, but that's precisely for that reason, Bruce. You start to get jammed up by the construction. In fact, the last time I saw 20th, which was a few weeks ago, it was closed altogether to traffic. So we need to avoid that. And then in conversations with Union Station, we had talked, the original idea was that we would form up
Union Station
on that west side of Union Station where there's a lot of parking and some little side streets. And they're at like 95% of their hotel capacity. I mean, they basically have the hotel sold out that weekend. And so they couldn't really provide any parking or anything of that nature. And so that's when we started moving away from that idea. So it still starts down there, but we're forming up on the Olive Street and 18th Street to come down.
There was the parade downtown on 4th of July, and of course they normally come from the east, but this time they came from the west. No, they normally come from the west, and this time they had to come from the east to do it. Then we would have eyes right if we did that. But
yeah, well, that's the thing with the east is you end up crossing the
Tucker,
the 5K start and finish line. So they have all this equipment set up, you know, and they're like
good point.
Their timing equipment and all that stuff. And so you start to it starts to interfere with one another. And so that's why that idea was rejected primarily.
What's been thought of at least. Okay, all these things have been thought of. That's good. That's great.
Yeah, it was a lot of discussion.
Yeah, it was.
So Mark, does that mean we're going to have to set up a second stage at 20th and Market?
We need to talk about that, Judith, with the massing of the colors and what that looks like. I have some ideas, but we need to chat about it. And I think maybe that's and see how to do that, because that's another really tricky part of this that I don't know if I have the right answer to it or not. But I think overall, I think we've made some good progress there. Whenever I look at the list of details, it's a little intimidating, but I think we'll get there. But the route let me sleep good. As long as it goes well with Travis and the streets department, I think we'll be all right. But Travis was in that meeting. His initial thought was that it was going to work well on the streets, would be okay with it.
Are there any more questions for Mark?
I have a question that it's for Mark.
Mhm.
pertaining earlier during our development days when we were developing the Soldiers Memorial. Fran Levine was always at our meetings and such. Has she retired as yet or moved on? I understand
No,
she-
she's still with us. She announced her retirement.
Right.
I believe maybe 4 or 6 weeks ago, maybe longer. And I think her anticipated retirement date is mid 2022. So another, I think 6 to 8 months.
When the time comes, we want to wish her, of course, the very best and congratulatory. And
Oh yeah, absolutely. Yeah, and she'll return to these meetings.
oh, good, good.
Oh yeah, yeah.
Mark,
Judith, yep.
you may or may not know, or I think maybe I sent you an email that Dr. Levine was selected as a Missouri Athletic Club Woman of Distinction.
Oh, wow.
And it would be really nice if we could get some of this group at the luncheon there in support of her selection. And that's going to be on Friday, October the 1st at the Missouri Athletic Club, the second floor ballroom. And I just think it would be another way for us to say thank you for all the support
Yeah.
she's been.
Yes, yes. Good idea.
That'd be
If
great.
anybody wants to do that, give me a call and I'll get you the information on registering.
I'll probably do that, Judith. Green. Can you hear me?
Yes,
I can hear
Oh,
you.
okay.
Green, yeah.
we can hear you now.
Do we have anything else? Any questions, new business or announcements?
I have another announcement.
Okay,
In the respect at our in the front of the Soldiers Memorial, where number of people have bought blocks or bricks
mm-hmm,
with names on it. Of course, and we had one there for my father, and of course, we donated a lot of things from several things from World War One. But
mhm.
today he would have been 125.
Wow,
Wow.
wow. That is a good one. Thank you for
Thanks. Bruce.
sharing that with us.
Thank you.
Okay,
And since you brought up the bricks, we just did another engraving. I lose track of my days. I think it was yesterday. It's either yesterday or Tuesday morning. They were out and did another set of bricks. They do them in batches. So I think the next one they'll do. They've been doing them in the fall and the spring, basically, as enough of them accumulate, and then they go out and they get the contractor out to do that and great. So
yeah,
Well, I have three of them there.
you do.
yeah.
Yes.
Anybody else have anything?
Oh, this is Freddie. I don't have anything. Do we have any idea who's going to furnish cars this year?
Oh yeah, Freddie, we talked about that, and I don't know anything about that, Freddie. So I'm glad you brought it up. I don't know how that worked in the past. So I think Linnea or Judith or
I don't know
Corinne.
that much about it either. Actually, I don't know anything about that. The cars.
For the Korean vets?
No. This was a fellow that every year he furnishes his car. It's a 1950s era Edsel.
Oh,
The green convertible, the real light
Yeah, I
green
remember
convertible.
that.
Remember that, Linnea?
I sure do. I have a lot of
I-
pictures of it.
I
Yeah.
can't think of his name, so I can call him and see if, because he puts his car in parades all over the area.
Uh-huh. I do not know his name either. And I don't have that sort of information in any of my records from previous years. I think that must have been like a Kathy and Ann thing, and they did it on their own because we never even talked about that in meetings that I recall, that sort of thing. Maybe Judith or Corinne remembers, but I don't remember anything about that, unfortunately.
no, the only thing, I've never knew anything about it,
Me neither.
but maybe Travis could find something in the files.
Yeah,
You said it was
Well,
a,
I'll do.
Freddie, you
What
said
I-
it
what
was an Edsel?
Yeah, it's
Yes.
an Edsel. Yeah, green convertible, a real pale green convertible.
yep, it was a beautiful car.
Oh, yeah.
A rolling boat.
I will talk to Ed, this Kathy's husband, when I'm back in City Hall next week. I'll talk to him and have,
Okay.
give him my number so Kathy can call me.
Okay,
And if he wants to participate,
wait,
Mark, I'll give him the information so he can contact you.
Is it Ken Lammert? Would you know, Freddie?
It's Ken, that's who it is.
Ken Lammert?
Yep, that's who it is.
So we sent him a letter. He's on the mailing list. All it says on his organization just says convertible. So
Right.
that
right.
must be it. And
That's him.
do you want his phone number?
Yeah, if you can email that to me or text it to me or something, why don't you just email it to me?
Okay, I'll do that. I don't have his, all I have is his physical address and his phone number. I don't have an email for him, but I'll email it over to you.
Okay, that'll be good then.
great.
Okay.
And I'll get with Ken and find out if he's going to participate.
Okay,
Good.
beautiful.
That's good.
Okay.
Excellent.
Do we have
That's all
anything
I've got.
else? Anybody else?
Apparently
Okay,
not.
can I have a motion then to adjourn the meeting?
So
So
moved.
moved.
A second?
Second.
Okay, I call for a vote to adjourn the September 16th, 2021 meeting of the Soldiers Memorial Commission.
Aye.
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 Any opposed? Any abstain? No? Okay. The meeting is adjourned at 3:45 PM. Thank you very much, everyone, and hopefully we'll see you at some of these events in the fall.
Thank
Thanks,
you.
everybody.
Thank you.
Thank you. Everybody be safe.
Thank you.
All right, buddy.
Bye.